Hello, good evening, and welcome to the CADENHEAD'S Amateur Dram Antiques Society tasting. Tonight I'm gonna, well, with the forecast for the weekend up here in the far north of Scotland being somewhere like 24 to 25 degrees on Saturday and Sunday, I was thinking, well, what would be the perfect summer dram? And I'm going to try some Auchentoshan, uh, very light whiskey, to see where we go with that. See if that's perfect for a summer's day. I've got three Auchentoshans here, two samples and a bottle. The samples are the first whiskey is the Scottish Malt Whisky Society Cask number 5.81, a fruity prescription, an 18-year-old bottled at 55.3%. And then I have a bottle of Cadenhead's Auchentoshan from their authentic collection. This one is 1992. It was distilled and bottled 23 years later at 45.2%. And then I'm going to finish up with the sample from Duncan Taylor. They've been trying different kinds of sherries in their octaves, and this is an octave Auchentoshan 2011 13-year-old Palo Cortado octave, cask number 3545453, bottled at 52.7%. So Auchentoshan Distillery was built in 1800 by John Bulloch, who named it Duntocher. After Duntocher went bankrupt in 1822, his son took over the business and registered the Auchentoshan Distillery in 1823. And from then on, Auchentoshan was a legal whisky distillery. The official date of foundation is therefore 1823. There's no legal records of production before that. Over the centuries, Auchentoshan changed hands frequently, and more recently the distillery was sold to the Japanese Suntory Group. An important milestone for the distillery was 1969, when the owner pioneered the single malt production of Auchentoshan at a time when the blend industry was dominant. It's situated between the hills of Kilpatrick, or the Kilpatrick Hills, and the River Clyde, just north of Glasgow. And the clear spring water from Loch Cochno on the Kilpatrick Hills is used for distillation. The annual production is 1.5 million litres of alcohol a year, which is quite high for a distillery that doesn't supply to the blend industry. One characteristic of Auchentoshan is its triple distillation process, and it's thought that it's maintained that since 1823, and it can be officially documented that it's maintained that because of the Irish diaspora in Glasgow, and of course Irish whisky characteristic is triple distillation, makes for a lighter whisky. An engineer named Tom Thorne sold an intermediate still to the distillery in that year. The wash still has a capacity of 17,500 litres, but it's usually only filled up to 16,500 litres to split the previously produced wash of about 33,000 litres into two runs. The process continues in the intermediate still, which holds 8,200 litres. The first part produced here then goes into the spirit still, which has a capacity of 11,500 litres. The second part goes back into the intermediate still and is distilled again, together with the next batch from the wash still. The raw spirit produced in the spirit still the core, is one of the highest in the single malt range with an alcohol content of 81%. All the stills are steam heated to ensure consistent quality with a controlled heating system. For their size, all three pot stills are quite tall and are constricted above the outlet of the pot. The line arm is quite interesting. It appears completely levelled out. So theoretically, half of the condensed spirit in the line arm should flow back into the still, and the other half into the spirit receiver. It sources its malt from the major malt houses, and only unpeated malt is used, which suits the light distillery character. It has 7 washbacks in use, 4 made from ordinary Douglas fir and 3 from stainless steel. The fermentation time of 62 hours is rather longer than usual, resulting in a fruitier citrus and apple flavours, but without losing the malt character. There's 3 dunnage warehouses where the casks are stored 2 to 3 rows, one above each other, and 2 rack warehouses where they are also stacked a bit higher. And you can visit one of the dunnage warehouses where only Auchentoshan casks are stored. The warehouse was rebuilt in 1948 after being almost destroyed in a bombing of 1941. Bourbon barrels are mainly used for maturation, but some bottlings are also a combination of different types of sherry and wine casks. They also do a bit of experimentation, such as the Auchentoshan Virgin Oak release, which was matured in fresh American oak casks. So, following the old Lowland and Irish tradition, all Auchentoshan whiskies are triple distilled. And that triple distillation removes the last remnants of fusel oils and other unwanted flavours from the whisky. So you get a very sharp, edgy whisky from Auchentoshan. Its standard range is quite extensive and consists of many whiskies. It essentially comprises the American oak, the 12-year-old Auchentoshan, and the 3 wood. And its character of Auchentoshan could be described as soft and quiet. It does use sherry or wine casks to bring the whisky a little more to the sweet side. And if you've tasted older bottlings such as the 18 or 21, you'll find that Auchentoshan produces whiskies whose complexity can be quite delightful. There's no major blended malts that contain Auchentoshan, but some indie bottlers have secured enough casks to bring their own bottlings to market. Auchentoshan's new make spirit is very light and intense on the nose, with pink rhubarb, sweet cardboard, banana peel, and it's quite leafy. The palate is tight and hot, slightly biscuity with intense lemon lift, and the finish is quick with apple. So first up, we're going to try the Scottish Malt Whisky Society. There's the little sample bottle I have. A fruity prescription, 18-year-old, 55.3%, cask number 5.81. It was distilled on the 16th of January 2003 and fully matured in a first fill bourbon barrel. It's in the Scottish Malt Whisky Society light and fruity category, and there's 156 bottles produced of this. So these little ones, you only get 25 mils in there. So you see, 18-year-old, it's quite pale still. This will be natural colour, non-chill filtered. And it's got quite thin tears. So a little bit of viscosity there, but not highly so. And on the nose, you get creamy vanilla custard and ripe yellow fruits. Lots of plums, mushy bananas and sultanas. And then you get some fresh parsley and citrus curds. Pineapple chunks, but with a sort of fizzy sherbet. Quite fruity, quite vanilla. And there's quite a bit of depth to it. Rice pudding with citrusy notes like lime, pink grapefruit, and it's quite sweet. It's like apple fritters at the fair that's up here at the moment. Toffee apples. And you get, from this on the nose, you get classic traits of Auchentoshan. Citrus, malt, flowers. But this one is something a little extra. It's not truly clean, and there's a little bit of umami. And you do get something of the mash in this. And you get the white chocolate with rice, some mandarin and apricot, and a hint of coconut paste, camphor and ginger, but also nettles and sort of pine cone. Try the mouth. And it's ripe pineapple, gooseberry tart, sort of orangey flapjack, and some light medicinal tones like cherry throat sweets. You remember the tunes you used to get, and bonjela. It's getting a little peppery, slightly less creamy. It's quite delicate on the palate. And there's a nice balance between the clean sweet oak and the spicy vanilla. It's quite soft and sweet and very drinkable. It's creamy, round, mouth coating. It does remind you of a sweetie shop. Both hard and soft candies, sour bars and gummy bears, strawberry and yogurt. And then some grapefruit and yellow apples kick in to smother that candy in a rather classic Auchentoshan taste. And it's quite a peppery finish. It's neither long nor short, but it's lovely, sweet and spicy and warm, and it brings a smile to your face. I'll try a mill of water in this. So yeah, Auchentoshan, summer dram. And the tears have really got quite thick now. And now you get pine cones and more wood sap and mossy tree bark, quince jelly and dried papaya, and some banana milkshake and lemon cake with a sort of lemon cream cheese frosting, lemon bonbons, apricot wine, pineapple tarts, hay, marigold, and stem ginger. Try them out. And you get some leatheriness, white pepper, a sort of spiced plum wine, orange travel sweets, and the barley sugars, and touches of spearmint. Key lime cream puffs, fizzy love heart sweets. Toffee apples coated in candied fennel seed. And you get almond oil, sheets of marzipan, candied hazelnuts, sort of summer fruit cordial, and those chewy sweet lemon bonbons with a slightly spicy centre. And the finish, salt and pepper, flavoured banana chips in the finish. That was quite a ride. It was, especially on the palate, a nice adventure and pure fun, and definitely a summer dram. So I cleanse my palate with an air and spine milled oat cake. So next up we have a CADENHEAD'S Auchentoshan 1992 23-year-old, bottled at 45.2%, and in the bottle it looks a bit darker, this one. So this is from their authentic collection, so it's bottled at Cask strength, 45.2%, so there's been a bit of an angel share going on there, or maybe a leaky cask. It just says a bourbon barrel, so an ex-bourbon barrel 20 years before bottling in February 2016, producing 192 bottles. I poured rather a large dram of this. Well, it's summer and we're searching for a summer dram. And it's got slightly thicker tears than the last one. And it's quite different. And it's got some mint leaves, stewed pears, plums with lemongrass, lemon curd, varnish, and even nail polish remover. And I get grapefruit, limoncello, and there's a quite a pleasant mineral side, limestone, quite mossy and fresh vanilla. Try them out. And it's quite effervescent. Lemon sherbet, pear cider, and it's a little chalky, and it's followed by fresh juicy apples and pears, sort of leather, patchouli oil, and perhaps pomegranate juice or molasses. Chlorophyll and a sort of mint chewing gum, overripe pears, orange blossom water, citrus fruits, and it's half an overripe banana and half an overripe apple. But behind that, there's a sort of touch of smoky tea, which makes it a little less of a fruit bomb. And there's quite a lot of mossy and grassy lime juice. And on the finish, it's a nice finish. Salted honeycomb. It's a little short. It's kind of like oriental fruit, almost like kiwi fruit. Wax citrons, and there's a drop of tequila blanco in the aftertaste. I'm going to try a mill of water in this. Again, the tears are quite viscous in this one, quite thick tears. And you get sort of vanilla, moss, multivitamin juice. It's got quite a fresh, herbal complexity. And it's got sort of a fresh puttiness to it, but also a nice sincere chalkiness. A drop of benzene, a dab of shoe polish, and then it's building up on the citrusy development again. And on the mouth you get the sweet lime juice and a touch of honey. There's quite a range of citrus, bergamots, kumquats, citrons, grapefruits. Then you get essences and oils and even a tiny pinhead of tar. Really nice stuff, this. Bright, luminous, and quite rejoicing. And the finish is short. A bit grassier again, and there's a little soapiness in there as well, especially in the ongoing aftertaste. But this is nice. I say this is above the Scottish Malt Whisky Society one. Tis 5 years older, bourbon matured, but there's some good fun to be had with this. Quite unusual Auchentoshan. It's very good, and it's an ode and a compliment to Cadenhead with the proper aging. versus faster flavouring with oak and wine. So yeah, that's a really nice dram, and very very nice summer dram that one. So I'll just quickly cleanse my palate with. So the third dram is a fairly new release from Duncan Taylor, Octave Auchentoshan 2011, 13-year-old Palo Cortado cask, 354, 54, 53, 52.6%. So distilled in 2011 at Auchentoshan. It's got a seal in this little sample. There we go. And aged for 13 years, and it underwent a 3-month finish in a Palo Cortado. So it'll be a first fill Palo Cortado Octave cask. I think you'll probably find that they've got this in a Oloroso Octave cask as well. Because I think what they're doing is they're trying them out in different octaves to see. So this one's quite light as well. This one's younger, but because it's Palo Cortado, I thought I'd leave it to last. And it's less creamy and vanilla'd than modern official Auchentoshan. There's some vanilla, but I get notes of oranges, grapefruits, and pineapples. And it's quite spirity and estery. Dried orange peel, raisins, vanilla, nutmeg and cinnamon. And you do get sherry nuttiness, cooking herbs, and a touch of milk chocolate. Nice tears on this. Try them out. And you get on the mouth barley sugar, cinnamon, spiced apples, white pepper and custard. It's punchier than I would expect it, but still well in the style of Auchentoshan, which is one of the very last genuine Lowlanders out there. It's got a gentle, sometimes watery palate with initial sweetness and hints of orange, followed by notes of porridge and raisin. And with the Palo Cortado, it's quite drying after a few seconds with notes of milk chocolate and hazelnuts. And the finish is medium long, slightly tarty on lemon and cider apples, a touch of green oak in the aftertaste, and even a wee bit of saltiness. Sweet, caramelly, and it features hints of sherry spice and orange peel with a sort of gingery aftertaste, but nothing overpowering. The Palo Cortado hasn't overwhelmed this Auchentoshan. Put a mill in this as well. And you get dried fruits, nuts and a hint of citrus, along with a sort of balanced sweetness and spice. Try the mouth. And it's a sort of mix, sweet vanilla, white pepper, slightly drying oak, but still quite mild. And there's a bit of sherry in pad, which adds soft red fruits, cinnamon, and nutmeg. You get lots of baking spice, and with time, the mouthful and the flavours grow a bit waterier. And finishing medium length, not too oily. There's a nice fizzy sherry component, and there's multi grain still adding the sort of light vegetable notes. And you get a mix of sweet and sour flavours. Biscuits, Sprite, soda water, the Sprite fizzy drink, and hints of cherries linger in the aftertaste. It's quite rounded and mellow, and I think the Palo Cortado OCTAVE finish has introduced an interesting element to the Auchentoshan. But I would say this one is definitely better with a few drops of water. So, the perfect summer dram? Well, Auchentoshan is a fun whisky. It doesn't have much heft or weight, but I found these all to be delightful, probably session drams for summertime. So, does the hunt continue? We'll have to wait and see. Thank you for listening.